If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your faded words I will choke.
Happy Thursday to everyone in the sports universe. It is July the 21st, 2022. This is the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And to that I say good morning. For Aaron Crouch, who could not make it this morning, I am Michael Carvalho saying, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? On today's show, we will have Tony Johnson finally back on. I cannot wait to hear his thoughts on some Donald Trump comments regarding LIV golf and the PGA Tour. You might want to stay tuned for that because that's quite the... Didn't realize that it happened until I was reading that last night. So I want to hear Tony's thoughts on that. Support our show the easiest way possible. Go to amdrive.online and buy our merchandise. That's right. Wear our faces and drink our faces. We got mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, tumblers, you name it. It's all right there. amdrive.online. And we're so confident that it's cheaper than other podcasts. We'll price match it. So amdrive.online. Buy our faces today. Jimmy Garoppolo of the San Francisco 49ers has been granted ability to seek a trade around the NFL. Now, there are, to be fair, 3 or 4 teams that might need a quarterback. I'm not sure if the 49ers think as highly of Jimmy Garoppolo as to let him go to the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know. If they let him go to Seattle, it shows you what they think about him, to be fair, because that's a division rival. But let's just throw the division rival out the window. Who else could need a quarterback? I guess the Browns, if the Browns don't, if they get a whole 8 games from Deshaun Watson, then I guess that would mean they would need a quarterback. But there's really not much teams out there, to be fair. And I wanted to bring that up because I think it's interesting how many people have just latched on this idea that the Trey Lance just needs more development. Guys, he's in the offense with Kyle Shanahan. You can say that Jimmy Garoppolo looked good in New England all you want to. It was like a 3-game sample. We have seen Jimmy Garoppolo unleashed, for lack of a better terms, in San Francisco. And to me, he has been underwhelming, but that might have been the best you could see from him. So for Trey Lance being a project, one of the best, if not the best coaches he could have gone to, besides him with Sean McVay, is to Kyle Shanahan and that offense. You have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, on the offensive line, the running back galore that they have, no matter who the name is. If it's Joe Schmo from 4th Street, then Joe Schmo's going to run for 500 yards with the 49ers. It just happens. So this notion that Trey Lance is not going to be ready for the season, I think is hogwash. And the fact that the 49ers are now letting Jimmy Garoppolo get a trade shows you they don't need him because they have their guy. They see enough for Trey Lance. I promise you guys, Trey Lance looks like a Josh Allen project that's going to flourish in a couple years. And that's a good thing. This dude's arm is a rocket. He is an athlete. He can run the football. He will be fine. He will be able to hit Emmanuel Sanders over the middle in a Super Bowl if said day comes. So Jimmy Garoppolo, thanks for doing good in San Francisco. They made it to an NFC Championship again last year with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sure he's going to gauge more market value than he should, but that's because that's what Kyle Shanahan's offense does for you. So for the team that gets Jimmy Garoppolo, like I said, if it's the Browns, because let's say Deshaun Watson does get 8 games, more power to Jimmy G. But I have a feeling we've seen the best of him, and that's pretty much all I got to say about it. But yeah, shout out Trey Lance. It's time. I lost a bet about a year ago, but it's time for Trey Lance finally. Oh, that was rough because that was one of the first bets we did on the show, and I was sure he was going to be a day one starter last year. That was just pitiful. Oh, hey, when we come back, Tony Johnson's in the waiting room, and I cannot wait to pick his brain about golf and Donald Trump. Boy, I did not think I'd say that this morning. It's the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Mark Zuckerberg. We'll be right back. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
If you, oh, well, that was horrible. There, how's that look, Tony? That looks a lot better for you. Oh my goodness!
Live.
Right. If you want the best in sports merchandise with daily deals, you've got to go to MikeandAaronDrive.com and click the Fanatics logo to where every league store is open at your disposal right there. Support your team and our show. MikeandAaronDrive.com. Our link tree. Click the Fanatics logo. Tony, how you been, sir?
I've been good. Extremely busy here. I mean, so much going on. We'll talk, I'm sure, more about this. Some stuff in the works as the weeks go on. But no, I mean, it's great. I woke up today and we got golf live, PGA Tour live going on. A lot of my guys going on here for the 3M Open. So that's great. I was listening to your early stuff. And, we got a full morning. So what more could you want here out near the west coast of the United States?
Now, I know it's early for you guys, so good morning to you, Tony. I want to get into, because me and Aaron talked about yesterday about the British Open. I know you were excited for that thing. We just could not get to it with you on last Wednesday's show. But man, Rory McIlroy once again had another good finish. Look, I won't lie, he had a good tournament, but he did not have a good finish because once again, I believe it was back-to-back big tournaments now. He has lost the lead late. And I told Aaron, is that kind of a choke job? And Aaron said, no, he's been like top 10 in all four majors, which is actually pretty stinking good. It's just a lot of parity in golf right now. What is your take on Rory's finish not being able to close the deal once again?
Yeah, I think a little bit of a combination of a lot of factors, certainly. I mean, he finished with a final round 70, which is one under par. And normally that might be a really nice score, at the old course on a difficult, windy day, with tough conditions and tough pins. But we didn't have that on Sunday. We had really good conditions. And it was a gettable course again on Sunday. So I think the average score was right around 68 from the top 25 or 30 players in the field. So, yeah, he lost a couple of shots to the field against the top guys. And if you do that, you're not going to win, golf tournaments. That's just not going to happen, unfortunately, when the field is that strong. So, a combination of a few things. Now, the thing is, he hit 17 greens in regulation. So he had 17 putts for birdie on Sunday, and he only made, I think, 2 of them. So, again, it's a combination of a lot of stuff. It's not like he played poorly. He didn't play poorly. He just couldn't convert. wasn't hitting the ball as close as he needed to. Maybe it was a little bit of a moment too big. I think we'd have to ask him. It was one of those things that wasn't obvious on TV. Certainly. I think, you didn't see him just spray a bunch of shots, randomly here and there. He didn't fall apart with a 4-shot lead or anything like that. He just lost the lead early on and never really, got it back just because he never really made, any birdies down the stretch. So I think just a combination of a lot of stuff. And I think Aaron made a good point because I listened to your show, yesterday, and it's just there's so many great players right now. And, you get a course like that, which normally plays very difficult but wasn't, and you have to go out and you have to score. And if you don't, and if putts don't go in, they don't go in, and other guys are going to make some putts and you're just not going to win. And I think he played great. I mean, he played really well. A lot of guys played really well and didn't win. Cameron Young played really well too, and he didn't win the tournament. So we could say the same thing about him. So yeah, it's just one of those things that he happened to not make enough down the stretch, and Cameron Smith did, and there you are.
Yeah, Aaron mentioned about Cameron Smith. Apparently he used to be kind of a not totally in shape kind of guy. I guess you compare him like a Tony Stewart kind of guy, where he's just bigger, but he's not like totally fully committed to the game, and now he looks pretty stinking good. 20 under's got to be something special for him. I think Aaron said he made like 6 birdies in a row in the back 9. That's just
amazing.
That's just absurd. You can't beat it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we've been on, even from the former show back at the Vegas Squares, we talked about Cameron Smith 2-3 years ago, about a guy up and coming. I've been on him quite a bit over the years. And again, just recently, unfortunately, haven't been able to just because the numbers don't dictate it. He's now a favorite in a lot of these tournaments, but we've liked Cam for a while. He's got a big game. He makes a lot of putts. He's great around the greens, and he's a good guy to root for. We'll see what happens with the whole Live Tour and if that signing and all shakes out. It seems so shocking that he would do something like this. But either way, he's just built for tough, classic golf courses just because his game, he doesn't have a lot of holes in his game. And, he's a strong player. He's a guy that took a while to get comfortable on the PGA Tour. He was homesick for many years, native Australian that really sort of loves his home country. And I think finally getting he's got a New Zealand guy on his bag that they got together 2 years ago. And I think there was a little bit of camaraderie there, being from similar parts of the world. It was a huge deal. He's talked about it. There was a long article on Golf Digest last year about how much his caddy has meant to him, and just finding a little community on Ponte Vedra Beach where he lives out here in the United States. I think has helped a lot too, because he didn't really find a place to live for a while that he was comfortable in. It's a great story. Yeah, Cameron Smith's a fantastic story. He's a down-to-earth, regular guy. It's just another one of those great stories we've talked about, Mike, that you just can't make this stuff up. A guy that wins the Players and the British Open in the same year after sort of being on the outskirts, being a quality player but not breaking through, and all of a sudden he wins 2 of some of the bigger tournaments of the entire year. A lot of people consider the Players Championship the fifth major, right? So a fantastic thing, really, and great for golf, and great, it was a great tournament. What more could you ask for with that quality of a leaderboard down the stretch at such a historic venue? It's just great stuff.
I want to get your thoughts on this about players before we get to that bastard league. I want to get sorry, it's the inside.
No, I'm with you. See, the thing is, we're still on. There's a lot of people that have kind of coalesced with this and are okay with it. You and I are still firing on all cylinders, and I couldn't agree with you more, Mike. I'm still upset with how everything is going down. How Henrik Stenson is going to, let his Ryder Cup captaincy go, and his just talk about a guy that has a nice historic resume too, that got over some, I know he had some alcoholism issues and some tough spots throughout his career, comes back and wins the British Open, and just like, why? I don't know. It just frustrates me. I'm sorry. I don't want to go off on a tangent. Yeah, it's just very frustrating. Yeah.
I want to ask you this first, because Jay Williams, the motorcycle accident dude in basketball from years ago, he's now a talking head. And Jay Williams made an interesting point. I don't know if you heard me. I asked Aaron about it yesterday. He said that Tiger Woods, he's not sure would turn down the money if LIV had been around when Tiger first started coming up. Now, Aaron's line was, I thought, pretty good. He played for the love of the game, and the money just came anyways. Are you in the mindset that Tiger would have jumped? Because I'm kind of with Aaron, kind of sometimes the people with the love of the game, like a Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Tiger Woods, they don't care because money's going to come. They're so freaking talented. Do you think that that's a good assessment, or do you think that Tiger would have waited out until he made money in the PGA?
Well, I just don't think the money doesn't happen the way it naturally would have. Like you don't get the sponsorships that you would have doing it the natural way versus with the live way. Because again, there's just not enough eyeballs. People aren't going to care. 3-round no-cut events doesn't bring people to your it's just nobody's going to care about this. That's the one elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, is that there's literally basically a 0% chance that this is successful unless they change the style of the tournaments, because people don't care. Like, the cut is wonderful. It's what makes Friday golf so cool and great. Guys that make zero money versus X thousands or whatever, and that's a huge deal to people that are trying to stay at there's no storyline there. So I think you have to have all these storylines, Mike. You have to have them at these great venues. And, going to St. Andrews in year 2000 and dominating that field without really taking a driver out of the bag. That was an enormous news story 22 years ago now. I'm showing my age. And that wouldn't have happened if he's on the Live Tour. And all of those things, I think, work in hand. And you said the Nike money and all this sort of stuff. They care about eyeballs. They care about advertising. They care about where you can be. That's their number one thing, is to sell product. Of course, that's their role. That's their company. And you're just not going to do that, being a face of the Live Tour. It's not, it doesn't move the needle. Like it wouldn't have mattered, and it wouldn't have been the same thing. So no, I don't think he would have done it, not only from a professional perspective of wanting to play and have historical, quality, but just, I don't think the money would have been the same. Like, he would have made a lot more doing it the way he did. Now is a different story. Who knows whatever would have happened now, but
this LIV thing is, and tell me if this is a good analogy or not. Let's say like some NFL quarterbacks who are promising, but they just haven't been anyone. Like, let's say Kyler Murray doesn't have a good contract that he likes. Oh, I'm going to some BS Saudi Arabian football league. Mm-hmm. People would care, because there were guys who were established that were not jump like a Brady and a Patrick Mahomes. But then there are guys like a Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray who would jump just because they're throwing $50 million a year. That's what this is. But people are like, oh, it's okay with golf. Why is it okay with golf? We got to see all these guys come up and they just jump over and make all this kind of money for what? What have they showed in that league?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It would be very interesting if something like this blossomed for football.
Speak into existence.
Yeah, it would be very, very different, because all the leagues that have tried to come through are all actually trying to make money, and finances matter. The finances don't. Yeah, that is true. The biggest difference that there is. And I know we're going to get to Donald Trump in a little bit too, who also tried to start a rival football league. And I think there's a lot of relevance to that, by the way, from the USFL in the 80s to what's going on now. I think there's a ton of relevance. I really do. And that's the issue without a doubt. All of these other leagues, everything else, the XFL, the USFL, all of these things compared to what is going on with Live, is that the money is not the point. It doesn't matter whether money is made or not. That is not what they're trying to do. I know they've lost a lot of money through Formula One. I was reading a couple of articles about Formula One and all of the investment that they've done there, the sport washing, unquote there. And they don't really have a team together. They don't have any quality driver. They're on the periphery, spending just millions of dollars into Formula One, sponsoring events, things like that. And they're just not getting a return. And there's no question they're not getting a return. And there's these established players, just like the PGA Tour. There's a few established huge players in Formula One that you're just not going to knock off, because they're just there. And it's the same thing, Mike. It doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. It is unlike anything else we will probably ever see. It really is. It's amazing.
Hopefully it lasts as long as the election term, right?
I hope so. I hope you're right. That's all we can hope for at this point. I agree with you. I agree.
The USFL, I'm glad you mentioned that part, because I noticed that league came in with a lot more money than the XFL did. The XFL, although it was with Vince McMahon, it turns out he's a scumbag and a liar. The USFL has got all this Fox money pouring in, and their stands have this many people. But there's more people on the show than there were in the USFL stands.
Yes,
And more
that's
people
true.
latched on to the XFL because there was a bunch of good stories. USFL, like, it was just like, what is this crap?
Well, that was their goal. So Fox said early on that they did not care about gate revenue, that was not a goal.
Good.
It didn't matter. Yeah, they almost were going to try to film it without showing the stands, and they realized they couldn't really do that. There was a lot of talk about that before the league started. And again, I'm not watching the league. I'm not really deep into it.
Right.
But their plan was to just get it on TV, get it at the times that made sense on a network that worked, and just to drive revenue there. And just sell a lot of advertising on TV, and they didn't really care about the gate. To make a kind of an interesting similarity, the UFC, when they got bought out by Zuffa, the current parent company that ended up selling it 4 or 5 years later, but this is when Dana White got involved in the early 2000s, they also did not care about gate revenue. Their goal was to get on pay-per-view and to get draws there, and then kind of expand out and go to gate. They were only performing at very small places. They didn't even really care. They weren't even at the MGM Grand then or anything like that. So it's an interesting way. I'm not saying it can't work. It can, but it's tough to watch on TV when you see nobody in the stands of a football game, and you're just the fans are such a big part of football, and they aren't, for mixed martial arts, and they aren't for other sports, as much. But for American football, they're a huge part of the game, and so I think they underplayed that, Mike. I think they underplayed the fact that people aren't going to care if there's nobody in the stands. I'm not sure that's true. I think that when you do watch a USFL game, it does look weird. It does sound a little strange, and it does affect the product. So I think Fox made a mistake a little bit there. I believe they should have sold tickets for about a third of the price, and they should have brought in a lot of military and other maybe less fortunate families and groups of people, and just brought them in for free, just brought in bodies and people that are excited to see something. I think that would have been the better move, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like watching COVID again. Like we like seeing that on TV.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, it is, because it looks weird. You're right. I haven't watched a lot of USFL, but when they do kind of pan out to the stands and then you see literally like 200 people, literally, it is mind-boggling. When they can seat 50,000, there's no restrictions, but yeah, there's 200. So I'm with you. Yeah, I think it's strange. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows what'll happen?
All right. So I noticed that the XFL, the LIV was they're playing in a couple of Trump-owned things, and it really dawned on me this guy might be involved. And so I read this Fox News article about Trump warning loyal PGA Tour players why they need to make the jump to LIV golf. And I'll get to this quick quote. All of those golfers that remain loyal to the very disloyal PGA will pay a big price when the inevitable merger with LIV comes, which is a lie, and you get nothing but a big thank you from PGA officials for making millions of dollars a year. He said that on the BS Truth Social app that nobody uses. This rubbed me the wrong way completely, and even if I do support the LIV, this right here would make me hate it. That's just stupid. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, that's your former president right there. He says stuff off the cup, and he's irreverent, and he doesn't. He's a liar, and this is what it is. I mean, not to get in the political realm, which I know we don't want to do on our wonderful sports show here, but yeah, it's. I mean, that's classic Trump right there, saying what he wants to promote his brand and his thing. And I think his goal, he had said even in previous stuff, and I read that article as well too, Mike, that he wanted to be a big part of LIV. So I think he wants more than 2 events, and he has the signature one, the final event of the year, the whatever you would call it, the finals, at Doral in Miami, which is a renowned golf club. But that's part of the reason why this schism with the PGA Tour, why he's so upset, is because Doral had an event, on the PGA Tour for over a decade. And it was a really well-regarded, renowned event there. They were supposed to host the PGA Championship just this year at Bedminster, and the PGA Tour essentially just broke off all ties with Trump. This was 3-4 years ago. I don't remember. And so they no longer have an affiliation with him. There were multiple courses and times where they were playing at his venue, and that's worth quite a bit of money. There's a lot of press, there's a lot of play. People want to go and play his course, and things like that. They see it on TV. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those deals that, he's not affiliated with it anymore. So he's going to try to take it down, as hard as he can. And, that's the play. And certainly it is what it is, but it's a tough swallow. I can't believe they're holding this thing so close to, where, 9/11 happened. Again, I don't get into that political realm, and I know that stuff is sort of off our radar a bit. But it's a bold move, Mike. There's one thing holding an event at a Trump club in Miami. There's one in, a place just outside of New York City. Like that's bold. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are pushing back against this, a lot more than there have been in the previous 2 weeks. I've noticed just by the things I'm, reading and following along, just people on Twitter or whatever, out of curiosity, there's a lot of people that are pushing back a little bit at this. Again, not a lot of true live supporters out there. I'm not saying there are. There are actually very few. Yeah, I mean, because I follow a lot of golf fans and a lot of people that write about the sport. There's just nobody that's like a true fan of this. But there's a lot of people that are this rubs people the wrong way. It really does. There was a big tragic event that happened in this country, and you're just, I don't know, you're just kind of rubbing it right in their face for something like this. And it's sad. It's sad more than anything else. That's the way I see it. It's really sad.
That's a good point. And I will say this. This seems like a battle that's going to end between the people who think they have a bunch of money and can just throw it in buys happiness versus the people who just want to be happy.
Yeah.
But it seems like the good people versus the bad people.
That's it.
And one day I feel like the money will finally wear out and won't mean anything. Because eventually money there's so much of it, like who cares anymore?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to take the money though, Mike. I mean, we know that. I mean, there will always be guys, up and coming players, the players coming out of college that are really good. And if they're going to constantly throw money at people, yeah, there's going to be a whole group of people like Cole Hammer and Pearson Cootie, guys that are really coming up that just won a national championship at Texas. They're playing great on the mini tour and on the PGA tour now. Cole Hammer's in this field upcoming. A lot of people are excited about that because he's a fun guy to watch. And there's guys that are just they're focused. They want to play on the PGA. They both talked about it. They've turned down offers already for live, and they want to make their mark. And then there's other guys that are going to just move over, and they're gonna see the money and take it, and that's it. So like that's fine. I wrote about one of those guys, on an article there on Medium, about it's gonna affect someone at some point. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a good bad type of thing that you can see for it, and as long as there's a lot of money being thrown at people, the tour will survive. There's no question about that because people are going to go for the quote free money. And that's what it is. It's essentially what it is because not only are you maybe getting an upfront fee to play like some of the bigger players are, but the greatest thing is that it's a no-cut event that's guaranteed money. You get last place, you make $140K, and $140,000 in the Korn Ferry Tour. That's like finishing second or third, in one of their events, and that is so competitive. And those players are so good on that tour that it's going to draw people, Mike. It just is. So however long they want to do this, we know they have the deepest pockets pretty much in the universe. Right. It's going to happen. But I think you're right. I think there's going to be a time where the plug will be pulled because people aren't watching and nobody really cares and they're not getting what they want, whatever they're trying to get politically, whatever they're trying to get from the world. The plug will be pulled eventually. And who knows if it's 2 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Unfortunately, the tour will exist as long as they are throwing money at people that can't get it, can't get it as easily going the traditional route and playing on the the standard tours throughout the rest of the world.
I'm worried about the careers that'll be affected here. I'm not saying that we should feel sorry because they throw us money, but it's like some of these guys are going to miss out on championships. And when this thing, like I believe this thing plug will be pulled one day in the next 5 years. That's what I believe.
Okay.
I don't believe it's good. I don't believe you can just buy people's love for the game. Like what if the competitive spirit is just not there? People are like, well, this is kind of boring. Like the one dude said that we quoted a couple of weeks ago was like, oh, it's okay to have time with my family. He just doesn't want to golf. Then just admit it, bro. You just don't want to golf every week.
Yeah, and he can't cut it, and they can't make it go. That's the problem is that these are not guys that are winning consistently on the PGA Tour. These are guys that are most of them 40 to 48 years old that are struggling to keep a card and to make enough money. It's not rocket science. Look up and down the roster. It's guys that can't cut it right now. There's a couple of exceptions to the rule, a couple of exceptions. DJ, Taylor Gooch, Brooks Koepka. There are some exceptions, yes.
Right.
But the overwhelming majority, 90+%, are people that can't do it. And these are no-cut, guaranteed prize pool events.
That's why would I want to work hard.
That's it, yeah. So of course, there is no. It's the human mind is not perfect. Like you're not going to work 100% if the payout doesn't require it. It's as you said, it's psychology.
With losing.
Yes, it's exactly. It's with mediocrity, which is being a part of it and being there, and think of it from our perspective. People like you and I that love sports that want to watch it. We don't want to watch the mediocrity type of thing. We don't want to watch people that are have this guaranteed. That's the whole point of this. Like, that's what makes sports so good, is that it's not guaranteed and we don't know who's going to win. That's why the NFL football season is so exciting, because you have such a small amount of games and then you don't know who's going to make the playoff. You really don't. Like, it's great stuff. That's why it's so good. It's amazing that they're just missing.
For better or worse, Phil Mickelson's like the biggest name so far. He has been horrible.
Oh, horrendous.
Yeah. So what did you go there for, Phil? Like, if it's so good, if people are watching for Phil Mickelson, that's the big draw, and he stinks it up, and some dude wins it. What does it matter to me as a fan?
Right. That's it.
I was Phil and he finished 20th. What is the point of that?
Right. And 20th in a field of, really low grade players. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and he won, after winning the PGA Championship last year. If you look at his results, they were absolutely unequivocally horrendous. He made half the cuts that he played in, and it was just his average score. I just looked at it, was like 73 and change. He was averaging 1 or 2 over on his rounds on the tour. I don't know if it was the work ethic went down or what ended up happening, but he just can't play anymore. And again, he's 51 years old. So you think about that. How many 51-year-olds are going to be able to compete against, people in their mid to late 20s to early 30s that are playing great golf, that are hitting it further, that are better? It's not going to happen. So, again, I think more than anything else, if Phil was very competitive and can win on the PGA Tour, I actually don't think he would have taken this money. I really don't.
Bingo.
But it just comes down to, it's a ton of money that's upfront, that's guaranteed, and I can't win on the other tour, and I can just cozy on in and play 8 to 10 events a year. Done. And some people, that's going to work for them, and that's their decision, and it is what it is. We're not going to change that because it's done and over with, as you said. It's going to happen for, I know there's 2 or 3 year contracts, whatever it is, so I'm sure we'll get the tour for at least that long. But maybe after that, because the interest level is so low and people care so less, that the Saudis will just, try to move on and throw money at something else. Maybe it'll be a different sport or a different industry, whatever. Who knows? But maybe you're right, Mike. I hope you're right. I don't think you're going to be right, but I hope you're right. I really do. I really do. It's a shame.
That's crazy. So throw money at something else. That's good. What about 3M Open? It's happening right now. According to Google, Barnes leads by 1 stroke through 7. He's got -4 or 400.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have another shootout, another week of a shootout here. And these 2 weeks upcoming are not the best for, I think, the true, golf fans, because they're complete shootouts. And most people like it when the, game is a little bit tougher and there's more challenge and there's more interest in that sense. But especially next week, we go to Detroit for the Rocket Mortgage, and that is probably the easiest course maybe played all season. So you're going to have maybe 23, 24 under next week. This week, maybe 18 to 19. So it's a cool course, though. They renovated they used to play a senior tour event out here at TPC Twin Cities for about 10, 15 years. Wow. And then that venue moved for whatever reason it was. It got renovated by a well-known player named Tom Lehman. And he made it more difficult, added some water, did a bunch of things. And the course is actually harder than it was before, as surprisingly as it is, because it's still a relatively easy course. But it's a lot more fun to look at. And the renovation was fantastic. And it's just a great thing to view on TV. Yeah, it looks like kind of like what a Florida course is, because there's so much water out there. There's water on 15 out of 18 holes. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah, shot maker's course. You got to actually hit shots and move the ball here and there. But yeah, it's great. And again, I'm looking forward to it. I have it's one of those courses I've gotten to know pretty well over the years, so I'm very, very involved. Bet so far, just so much has been going on in life. Haven't been able to write about it. Haven't been able to talk about it very much. It's been very.
I was
sad.
wondering about that.
I know. I haven't written in a couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll get to it. I'm going to talk about some stuff hopefully by next week. When I come on next week, there's been a lot of stuff going on with life and an offer from a spot, and I've been kind of going back and forth on a few things. So yeah, but again, I mean, this week it's going to be a lot of fun. We don't have, again, not the best field that you're going to see. Again, as the playoffs are upcoming, we're going to see some really, really good fields on the next couple of weeks as we get into the FedEx Cup playoffs, which are only in 3 weeks away. So that'll be great. Yeah. I mean, we just have our last major of the season, and then the FedEx Cup playoffs in 4 weeks after that. So the way they've just orchestrated the season now and the way it's been changed, I think is fantastic. It's great for the fans. It's nice to get the FedEx playoffs, I don't want to say out of the way, but that was always happening when the NFL season and college football season was starting. And for the big sports people, people like us that want to watch everything and be a part of everything, it's hard to do it all. The fall is so hard because you have basketball and hockey and then the football starting. And I just want golf. I want the big tournaments and golf to be through the end of the summer, so that way we can kind of focus in on the other stuff. Not to say I'm not going to watch golf. I still am and going to be a part of it. Right. I love the smaller tournaments, but we're big football people, obviously, as we know, and it's a good tournament. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got it out in the background. That's what I was doing before I came on here, watching some of my guys. I got Sanjay Im this week. He's one of my he's one of the favorites. I don't play a lot of favorites usually, but I think he fits just perfectly for this spot. So yeah, it's always good to have PGA Tour Live up and going early. I was just sitting there getting out of bed. I got a text from you, and then the golf on TV. I'm like, what better thing is there from life? We got the AM drive upcoming, and we got golf on in the background, and I'm just sitting here with a coffee and my sheet in front of me, and it's just life is good.
I'm excited. Cannot wait for the next articles on Medium. It's medium.com at Tony Johnson 29. You're a good writer, and I've also found some other cool stuff on Medium. I was like, I kind of like this site.
Great. It is. It's great. It's amazing the collection of people that are really good, not just at writing, but at thinking, just putting thoughts on, online. It's like a large blogging site that just got too big for itself almost, and it just created just this monstrosity. And yeah, I mean, again, coming from a guy like Evan Williams, who started Twitter and a few other things, and he just seems like a brilliant dude. So yeah, I'm very excited with what's been going on the last few months. And again, just seeing your show, and both you and Aaron, and now having Aaron back officially after the series, is just, there's a lot of good things happening. And yeah, we sometimes we focus on some of the negative stuff, and with the Live Tour and the things that go on in sports and the whole Deshaun Watson debacle and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of negativity out there, but I think sometimes it's also good to think about the positives, and not just the stuff that's going on externally, but sometimes the internal stuff, and just seeing the show and just watching it, from 2 years ago, into now, and how much the show has blossomed, and how much, we've gotten better overall. And just, I think it's a great thing. Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier this morning too. And it's just, it's a great thing. So it's good to be part of, and just trying to get everything in order and all my, ducks in a row. It's been again, I'm going to get to more of it as it comes along. It's been a pretty crazy 3 or 4 weeks. It really has been, to put it mildly. So, yeah, but very excited, Mike.
I can't wait because we got football season coming up.
We do. I'm ready to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm as prepared as I always, as early as I ever have been, which is fantastic. So I am excited. Really jacked. Yeah.
Really, you hear that? He's jacked. Let's go.
Really jacked. I'm ready for the preseason. I'm ready for a lot of players I'm going to be watching in these games. Really interested in a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Daniel Jones is going to have a big year. It's going to be incredible.
I think that the Giants have a potential to have a nice little season here. I think there's a lot of positivity coming out of the Giants. Yeah.
They're going to make Josh Allen good. So, hey.
And he just seems like a really high quality guy. All the quotes you keep hearing from everybody, defensive players, assistant coaches, offensive guys, all the quotes. You don't get this very often with players. All these positive quotes about what he's doing, not just with X's and O's and as a coach, but just off the field stuff and in meetings and just being a guy. You don't get that very often, Mike. That's not fake. I think there's a lot of positivity here, and you're going to see this team blossom. I think there's some bets to be made too. I've already made a couple. Oh yeah, I think the Giants they're not on my most improved list as we talked about on a player wise, but maybe as like overall as an organization, most improved organization. If that'd be an interesting list to have. This is right near the top. They're in the top 3 for sure.
Like Bengals because of Joe Burrow. Now you got the Giants because of Brian Dable. Organizations. There you go.
Huge. I think it's a huge addition, an absolutely enormous addition. I can't believe that Dable wasn't hired before this year. I think that's the biggest shock, that he got passed up by a few teams. I know he was in some interviews last year or 2 years ago or whatever it was.
Right.
I think that's a shame. I know the
80s
Jaguars.
and 90s Giants uniforms are back.
I read about that are bringing back the old blue uniform. Oh yeah, that's gonna make a lot of people happy. That's pretty cool.
The Panthers and Texans unveiled new helmets. Like the Panthers have all black.
I didn't see that.
Texans have a red helmet.
Oh, I didn't see any of that. Okay, I'll have to look at that.
Good.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the Texans have to do something, don't they? Because that's an organization in turmoil. Talk about nothing good that's happened in the last 2 years. My goodness.
Besides maybe Davis Mills. I don't know.
Oh goodness.
I know. That's Aaron's guy, not mine.
Aaron, we need to get Aaron checked on that because that's not a guy to be having, I don't think. But I don't know. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong about Davis Mills. But we'll see. I don't know.
Right. Follow AM Drive at AM Drive TV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Tony's on Twitter as well. Right?
Yes, I am. At Tony Panos 29, my actual name, but we go by Tony Johnson here. Yeah. No, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I like the Tony Johnson moniker. It's worked really well. It's been perfect. Cool. It's nice. So, but yeah, you'll find it'll be Tony Johnson listed on there, but that's the actual moniker. And yeah, I just basically posting certain things. I did thank Kevin Kisner last week for winning a matchup bet for me and getting into the third round. He almost got a top 10 in that tournament, which would have paid 20 to 1. Would have been nice. But so Kisner, birdie on 18. I think that warranted a tweet. Certainly. I didn't get a response from him, unfortunately, but he was probably focused and halfway around the world trying to win a golf tournament. So I get that.
Or he might have been sleeping.
Or he could have been sleeping. That's okay, too. All I know is that putt went down, that tough 5.5 footer that curled in on 18. I know that putt went down. That's all I know. I was watching that live. That was a big deal. So,
Love it.
That was great.
Hey, tomorrow's Friday. Tony, we got some plans on Fridays coming up in the future that we'll keep on the hush for now, but can't wait for that.
Excellent.
And everybody, you better drive safe because I know me and Tony will. Thanks for tuning in.